got this.
Good Lord, it's really, really bouncy.
Timing it around these trees is starting to get pretty interesting.
It's so big.
It really is.
We're Jess and Miles. In 2019, we quit our jobs to pursue a dream of long-term travel around the world. After traveling for 6 months, we were brought back to the US due to COVID-19. We are back on the road here in the United States. We have been in Washington for the past 6 weeks and have been blown away by the beauty of this state. We went hiking in the North Cascades, saw whales on San Juan Island, and went backcountry camping in the Enchantments. We are now heading out to the Olympic Peninsula and have one final adventure planned before we start making our way south. We are here in Olympic National Park, which has to be one of the most diverse national parks in the country. It stretches nearly 1 million acres on Washington's west coast and encompasses beaches, rugged coastline, dense rainforest, and mountains. We are excited to get to explore as much as possible over the weekend. We actually started yesterday afternoon with a hike up on Hurricane Ridge, and today we have come to the northern part of the peninsula and we're getting started at Lake Crescent.
We parked at the Storm King Ranger Station, and there's a few hikes from here. Our main goal is to climb Mount Storm King as long as the weather holds out, but it's a very steep hike with some pretty sketchy areas. So we're gonna give it our best shot, but if it doesn't work out, either way, we're gonna be checking out Merrymer Falls, which is also on this trail.
The Mount Storm King hike is 5 miles round trip, and this first section here is very flat, but I know it's gonna get steep here pretty soon.
Now that we've made it away from the road and we're headed up the mountain, all we can hear now is the river, and these trees are unbelievable, completely covered in moss, so green and lush, and so far the rain's holding out for us. And while the trail has definitely been steep, it's certainly manageable and really well maintained, but we know we are getting close to where the fixed ropes are.
I am not looking forward to what is coming at all.
You got this. It's only a little windy. If you don't already know this, Jess has a pretty serious fear of heights, and all of our hiking requires her to face that on a pretty regular basis, but this hike will for sure test her fear of heights.
All right, I think we have around 0.4 miles to go from here, and from what I understand, there's 3 sections of fixed ropes and then a very steep, rocky section at the end. So here we go. We're at the first rope. And steep sections don't really bother me that bad. I can deal with steep vertical elevation gain, but it's this drop off here to my side is what really gets me.
I'm proud of you. You got this. You want to go first, or you want me to go first? Here we go.
Good Lord, it's really, really bouncy. Looks like we're done with the ropes. The first section was definitely the worst, but none of these are going to be fun coming down.
Now we've got one last rock scramble to the top, which looks pretty sketchy all by itself. To add to the excitement, there's about 30-mile-an-hour gusts blowing through here right as we're trying to get to the top. We're just going to leave our backpacks down here at the bottom because it's quite the scramble.
Keep having to stop because the wind is so bad.
This is so cool. We can see both ends of this full rainbow right over the lake. That really was a spectacular view down on the lake with the rainbow. But it was really windy and it started raining, so we went ahead and came back down, and now it's time to start heading down the ropes.
We have made it back to the maintained portion of the trail, so it is time for a snack. So I feel like the top section with the rocks was far sketchier than the rope sections.
For sure.
But it was definitely worth it. The lake was a bit hazy with all the clouds and the mist, but we had a double rainbow that was so cool. And I feel really accomplished for doing this hike.
Yeah, I mean, that top part would have been sketchy in a perfectly clear, sunny day, but the wind was so intense that just about every 5 feet we had to just stop.
Take cover.
And put all fours down. My hat blew off at one point. That was no joke. So we've got about 1.8 miles back down to the main trail, and we still plan on heading to Marymere Falls, which is another half mile in the opposite direction of the parking lot. So not too bad of a detour.
That part of the trail should be far more relaxing and flat. So I'm looking forward to it.
So it's not entirely flat, but it's definitely a lot more relaxing. That was a really pretty waterfall, but it's almost 1 o'clock, so we're gonna go ahead and head back to the car for lunch. I gotta be honest, aside from the fact that it's not even 60 degrees, this waterfall makes you feel like you're in Bali.
It's starting to rain pretty good now, and while I definitely wouldn't recommend hiking Mount Storm King in the rain, Marymere Falls is the perfect rainy day hike. If you just go to the falls, I think it's about 1.7 miles round trip with roughly 300 feet of elevation gain, and it's hardly impacted by the rain.
In fact, it really only makes everything look more lush and green.
And this really is exactly how I pictured this area to be.
We had a quick lunch at the car, and now we've come to do another rainy waterfall hike. We're headed to Solduck Falls. It's a 1.6 mile round trip hike.
Most of our recent hikes have been all about the alpine lakes or the expansive mountain views, but I have really enjoyed these rainy forest hikes today. It's definitely a different feel than what we've been doing the past couple of months, but it's been so nice to take in all of the small things and the details of the forest today.
We have made it to Solduck Falls. It's not quite as tall as the Marymere Falls, but it is so powerful, it's cut a beautiful canyon right through the forest. This is pretty cool.
We have made it to our final stop for today. We started in the mountains this morning and then went to the forest, and now we are at the beach.
We're headed down to Ruby Beach and we're gonna explore a little bit.
Ooh, what's in there?
All kinds of starfish. Look, starfish, 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 starfish.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's this really pretty bright one down here. So we ended yesterday on Ruby Beach and we're starting today on Rialto Beach. It was a pretty early morning because we needed to make sure we got here at low tide.
We just hiked about 2 miles up the beach to the hole in the wall, which is only passable at low tide. So we got here before sunrise, had a nice stroll along the beach, and we have a nice clear morning so far, so it has been a perfect start to the day.
We had so much fun checking out all the tide pools yesterday, and on the other side of the hole in the wall, it looks like there are tide pools as far as you can see. So I'm really looking forward to exploring on this side this morning. We've been hanging out on the north side of the hole in the wall for a little while now, and it's been a lot of fun just exploring the different tide pools and walking along the beach. But it's about 2 hours after low tide at this point, so we're gonna head on over to the other side. we hung out at the opening for about another half hour, and we definitely cut it close with the tide.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hours past low tide at this point, and I would say it is nearly impassable.
Yeah, you're getting wet if you're coming past there 2.5 hours past low tide.
And I nearly, well, actually no, I did fall.
Yeah, and I think we got it in slow motion,
So that's gonna be really nice and graceful. We keep getting distracted with driftwood and skipping rocks and taking pictures, and this water is coming in quick, and we're probably about halfway back at this point, so we need to start booking it. Because I believe the water is going to come all the way up to the trees.
So there was a creek that we were able to cross at low tide down by the surf, but now that the tide has come in, it's way too deep. So now we're up in the trees. It's a little bit different route on the way back. All right, timing it around these trees is starting to get pretty interesting.
It was a great morning out at the coast, and now we have come to the Hoh Rainforest. We're going to be hiking the Hoh River Trail, which is over 30 miles in total, so we're definitely not doing the whole thing, but we're gonna hike down 3 or 4 miles maybe and then turn back.
There are several other trails that lead from here as well, and I feel like you could easily spend a whole day just exploring this area, but I'm really glad that we had the time we did at the beach this morning.
We are only 5 steps out of the parking lot and we already see a deer.
It's a little one. Jess told me she was gonna find me a banana slug. She came over here to hug the tree and almost hugged a banana slug right at eye level. Big hug.
It's so big.
It really is.
We feel so lucky that it is not raining on us right now. Apparently this is the wettest place in the entire lower 48, and it gets 12 to 17 feet of rainfall a year. So the fact that it's not raining right now is kind of crazy.
I will say though, even though it's not raining right now, there's still the constant sound of water dripping down on the leaves below. It's really calm and peaceful through here.
It definitely feels like we have entered into a fairy tale land. And I think we've probably made it about a 1/4 mile in 20 minutes because we're stopping so much. I think this post is indicating we have made it 0.9 miles. It has been an hour. That's how slow we're going. That's how beautiful it is.
We're probably about 2 hours in, and we've really been enjoying this hike, just taking it slow. The trail just follows along the river for most of the way, and we did hear that there were a couple of waterfalls about 2.7 miles in. We should be getting close, and since this has been taking a lot longer than we thought, I think that's going to be our turnaround point.
The first waterfall is right at the bridge, and we just came about 1/10 of a mile to the second one. These falls are kind of hard to see, so there's a path on the other side of the creek that we're hoping is going to get us a little bit closer.
This little side hike was definitely worth it. We got a lot closer to this waterfall.
Sadly, I think it's time for us to start heading back because we have one more stop we're trying to make it to this afternoon before we call it a day. I'm really glad that we made it to the falls, but to be honest, it was nice not to have a destination in today's hike. It was really nice just to take it slow and enjoy everything along the way.
It has been an incredible couple of days here at Olympic National Park. This place is so diverse. We're actually back out here by the ocean at Kalalak Beach in hopes of catching a sunset. It looks a little hazy this afternoon, so we'll see. But there's also a really cool tree here called the Tree of Life that's actually suspended in midair. All of the dirt has been eroded out from underneath it, but it is still alive somehow, so that's pretty cool to see.
Pretty pink sky! We don't know where the sun is, but the sky is beautiful.
It never showed itself, but it is putting on a show.
But, oops, that was a big rock. So many fuzzy trees.
Jess is legitimately hugging trees. Right on the tree?
I just had a bug hit my face. Okay, I'm gonna start over.
You staying here tonight?